By the time I finish editing this video, the whole fiasco with Chuck Schumer and the CR bill will probably disappear behind the 24-hour news cycle and some other big catastrophic thing will happen. Which is one of the many reasons why this is going to be my last video for a while talking about super current politics. But knowing that, I'm still going to release this video because I think there's a lot of important history to bring up on how ineffective it is to be conciliatory with fascists and how bad what Chuck Schumer did is. Okay, so I don't want to be that guy. Okay, I absolutely want to be that guy. I have a globe next to me. Of course I'm going to be pretentious. But in all seriousness right now, I'm going to be comparing what is happening right now to historical events in 1930s Germany. Because it's almost comical on how similar the situation is. Now, believe it or not, I'm not actually comparing the Trump administration to 1930s Germany. I'm going to be comparing the response specifically from Chuck Schumer to historical events. Because these two people are literally the same person. They even got they look the same. Just color tint, glasses blue, and you have the same person. Identical twinsies. But to run down essentially what happened right now. What constantly happens throughout US politics recently is the threat of a government shutdown. Basically what happens is Congress says we're going to spend this money, we spend that amount of money, but then we have a debt ceiling which is below the amount of money that we say we're going to spend, so then we have to raise the debt ceiling. After we already essentially decided to spend the money already. And what normally happens is the minority government, which is often the Republicans, will tell the Democrat president, hey, we are going to shut down the government unless you give us concessions. And then the Democrats normally concede some ground and give the Republicans what they want. That's normally what happens. This time around, when there's a Republican president, Trump, instead of the Democrats being like, okay, we're going to shut down the government under you guys unless you give us what we want, the Republicans are like, actually, we're going to shut down the government unless you give us everything we want. We're not even going to keep funding the government how it is or how we already decided to. We actually want more. And not just more, we want to kind of implicitly give Congress's approval for Elon Musk and Trump to just do whatever the hell they want and be dictators. The Democrats, of course, said, no, why would we do that? Shut down the government, idiot. You'll look bad. And that's what happened. It went through the House, and the Democrats pretty much all voted against it. And Chuck Schumer says, oh, we're going to vote against this. This is ridiculous. We would never let this happen. And then right before the vote goes to the Senate, which is expected to not pass, and they're still going to push a more fair bill forward, Chuck Schumer is like, wait, actually, let's give the Republicans everything they want so we don't shut down the government. Chuck Schumer, the Democrat, the minority leader in the Senate, is like, let's give the Republicans everything they want, and convinced a bunch of Democrats to vote for the give whatever the Republicans want bill. And his reasonings were basically, well, if we shut down the government, they're going to do what they want anyways. And also, shutting down the government's bad, so therefore we should just let them do whatever they want anyways. We should sign off on what they're going to do. I guess to compare it historically of why this is such a bad strategy, I don't actually think it's a strategy. I think he's just being a collaborationist because it's good for the stock market. But hypothetically, he's excusing it as a strategy. But let's just see how that strategy goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read some history from 1930s Germany and compare those actions directly and overlay on the screen what's happening right now and how they're the same. The government confronted the newly elected Reichstag with the Enabling Act that would have vested the government with legislative power for a period of 4 years. So the Republicans pushed for the CR bill, which essentially gives them everything they wanted. But what's even worse is that the bill doesn't clearly allocate a lot of the money, which means that Donald Trump can spend it however he wants. Or to use Chuck Schumer's own words, creates a slush fund for President Donald Trump and his advisor Elon Musk. What this does is essentially hand over a lot of legislative power that was previously in control of Congress. One thing that I forgot to say in the original recording that I want to make very clear is that the CR bill is not as bad as the Enabling Act. The Enabling Act is a lot worse. But what the CR bill does is push us in the direction that the Enabling Act also pushed Germany. As the bill required a 2/3 majority in order to pass, and the coalition parties only controlled 340 of the 647 seats, 52.5%, the government needed the support of other parties. Like the Enabling Act, the CR bill required more than a 51% margin. It required a 60-vote margin. The Republicans only control 53 seats. Coincidentally, the exact same percentage of seats as the Nazi Party in 1930s Germany. Because of this, the Republicans needed support from the other party. The Centre Party, whose vote was going to be decisive, was split on the issue of the Enabling Act. Chairman Kass advocated supporting the bill in Parliament in return for government guarantees. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, a centrist, advocated for supporting the CR bill in return for government guarantees on certain spending. Because of this, multiple other centrist Democrats also voted for the bill, pushing it over the line. Hitler responded positively and personally addressed the issue in his Reichstag speech. Donald Trump responded positively and personally addressed the issue in his Truth Social tweet and said that Chuck Schumer had courage. Kass was aware of the doubtful nature of such guarantees, but when the Centre Party assembled on the 23rd of March to decide on their vote, Kass advised his fellow party members to support the bill. Schumer was aware of the doubtful natures of these guarantees, but when the Democratic Party assembled to decide their vote, Schumer advised his fellow party members to support the bill. Given the precarious state of the party, he described his reasons as follows. On the one hand, we must preserve our soul, but on the other hand, a rejection of the Enabling Act would result in unpleasant consequences for fraction and party. Schumer basically said that the bill is bad, that the bill is really bad, but not voting for the bill would have unpleasant consequences. Basically, it's just protecting Wall Street. What is left is only to guard us against the worst. Were a 2/3 majority not obtained, the government's plans would be carried through by other means. He said that all that was left was for him to guard us against the worst. If a 60-vote majority was not obtained, Donald Trump's plans would have been carried through by other means. Basically saying that the bill is bad, it's really bad, but if we don't vote for it, they're gonna do the bad stuff anyways. So we might as well legitimize the bad stuff that they're doing. A considerable number of parliamentarians opposed the chairman's course. Among these, former chancellors Heinrich Brüning, Joseph Wirth, and former minister Adam Stegerwald. Many officials from the Democratic Party's Congress opposed voting for the bill, including all of these former and current leaders. Brüning called the act the most monstrous resolution ever demanded of Parliament and was skeptical about Kass's efforts. The party has difficult years ahead, no matter how it would decide. Sureties for the government fulfilling its promises have not been given. Without a doubt, the future of the Centre Party is in danger, and once it is destroyed, it cannot be revived again. Former House Speaker and also a centrist Nancy Pelosi called the bill, quote, a devastating assault on the well-being of working families across America. So yeah, they basically made the same arguments. Hitler is going to do it anyways. We need to protect order and the government and just enact it anyways. It's a bad bill, but we need to do it for the good of the government. Kass, like Schumer, using his position of power, advocating for voting for it, got multiple of his party to vote for it, giving them enough to get the bill passed. While many other people in the party called it disastrous and really stupid. You are conceding ground for no reason and giving the president legislative power and stripping any checks and balances. It's collaborationism. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment any thoughts you had. Also, I had a really good long video that I spent hundreds of hours on climate change that I posted and then had to delete and repost. and because of that, it just completely killed it, and it got like no views, which is really disappointing for the amount of work I put into it. So if you want to watch that video, click it please, I beg you.